Make Time, How to Focus on What Matters Every Day, by Jake Knapp and John Zeratsky. Introduction. It was an ordinary afternoon. A father, Jake, was at home with his two young sons. He'd been looking forward to this time all day, a chance to unwind and just be with his kids. His 8-year-old, Luke, was on the floor, carefully piecing together a wooden train track. His youngest, a baby, was happily drooling on one of the toy locomotives. It was a perfect, peaceful family moment. And then, his son Luke looked up from his work and asked a simple, innocent question that would change everything. "Dad," he said, "why are you looking at your phone?" Jake didn't have a good answer. Sure, there was probably some email, some notification, some reason he was staring into that little glowing screen. But was it a good reason? Was it more important than the train track on the floor? More important than the fleeting moments of his children's youth? In that instant, something clicked. He realized he wasn't really there. His body was in the living room, but his mind was somewhere else entirely, lost in a digital storm of other people's priorities. That single question sparked a quest. It was a quest led by two men, Jake Knapp and John Zeratsky, who were insiders from the very heart of the tech world. Working at places like Google and YouTube, they had helped design the very apps and systems that were now stealing our attention. They understood the enemy from the inside. And they set out to find a way to fight back. Not by getting more done, not by being more productive, but by fundamentally redesigning their days to create more time for what actually matters. The result of their journey is the book we're exploring today, Make Time. It has sold hundreds of thousands of copies and has been translated across the globe, not because it offers a complicated new productivity system, but because it offers something far more valuable, a simple 4-step framework for escaping the endless cycle of busyness and distraction. So, if you've ever felt like your days are a blur, if you get to the end of the day and wonder, "What did I even do today?" then listen closely. Because by the end of our time together, you will have the blueprint to reclaim your time, your focus, and your life. You'll learn how to stop living by default and start living with intention. Book summary. Have you ever had this conversation? Someone asks, "How are you?" And without even thinking, you reply, "Busy." It's become our standard answer. Our calendars look like a game of Tetris gone wrong, every single block filled with something we're supposed to do. Our phones buzz and vibrate from the moment we wake up, screaming with hundreds of new emails, breaking news alerts, and social media notifications. We spend our days reacting, putting out fires, and answering to everyone else's demands. Then, we get home, exhausted, and collapse onto the couch, too tired to do anything but numb our brains with a bit of television. The authors of Make Time, Jake Knapp and John Zeratsky, call this modern condition a trap, set by two powerful, competing forces that are constantly fighting for every minute of your life. The first force is what they call the busy bandwagon. This is our culture of constant busyness. It's the belief that to be successful, to be a good employee, to be a functioning adult, your calendar must be full and your to-do list must be endless. We feel this pressure to be productive every single minute. If we slow down, we feel guilty, like we're falling behind. The busy bandwagon tells you that the answer to feeling overwhelmed is to do more, to be more efficient, to run faster on the hamster wheel. The second force is what they call the infinity pools. These are the apps on your phone and the websites on your computer that offer an endless, bottomless supply of content. Social media feeds, streaming video services, non-stop news sites. If you can pull down to refresh it, it's an infinity pool. These are designed to be your reward for surviving the busy bandwagon. You're exhausted from being busy all day, so you deserve to dive into an endless stream of entertainment. So there you are, caught in the middle. Pulled in one direction by the demand to be productive every second, and in the other direction by the irresistible lure of endless distraction. The result? Your time is spent by default. You react to your calendar, you react to your inbox, and then you react to whatever the algorithm serves you next. You spend the whole day doing things, But at the end, you feel like you haven't done anything that truly matters to you. This is the problem that Jake and Jay-Z, two self-proclaimed time dorks, set out to solve. After Jake's wake-up call with his son, he did something radical. In a fit of frustration, he grabbed his iPhone and started deleting things. He uninstalled Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Then, he stared at the Gmail icon. He had worked on the Gmail team at Google. He loved the product. But he knew what he had to do. He tapped delete. He expected to feel anxious, cut off from the world. Instead, he felt relief. He felt free. For the first time in a long time, he wasn't reflexively reaching for his phone at the slightest hint of boredom. This simple experiment of creating a distraction-free phone was the first step. Soon after, Jake met John Zeratsky, or Jay-Z, at Google Ventures. Jay-Z was his opposite in many ways: calm, organized, and never stressed. But he shared Jake's disillusionment with the busy bandwagon and the infinity pools. Jay-Z was obsessed with finding a system for designing a better day. Together, they had the perfect laboratory to test their ideas: the design sprint. A design sprint is a 5-day process for solving big problems, which Jake had created at Google. For 5 straight days, a team would cancel all their other meetings, put away their laptops and phones, and focus intensely on one single, important challenge. Over several years, they ran over 150 of these sprints with companies like Slack and Uber. And through these intense experiments, they discovered 4 profound lessons that became the foundation of the Make Time framework. First, they learned that something magical happens when you start the day with one single, high-priority goal. It creates clarity and motivation. Second, they saw that banning devices was transformative. Without the constant pull of email and notifications, people could bring their full attention to the task at hand. Third, they learned that energy is not a luxury, it's essential for clear thinking. Simple things like a healthy lunch, a quick walk, and frequent breaks didn't slow them down, they made the work better and more effective. And finally, they learned the power of experimentation. Taking notes, seeing what worked, and adjusting the next day allowed them to continuously improve. These 4 lessons became the simple, elegant, 4-step system at the heart of Make Time. It's a cycle you repeat every single day: highlight, laser, energize, and reflect. Let's break down what each of those means. The first step, every single day, is highlight. This is the most important step. It's where you decide, proactively, what you want to make time for. Before the day runs away from you, you ask yourself a simple question. At the end of the day, what do I want to be the highlight? When you look back, what is the one moment, activity, or accomplishment you want to savor? That's your highlight. It's not your entire to-do list. In fact, it's the antidote to an overwhelming to-do list. A highlight is a single focal point for your day. It might be something urgent at work, like finishing a presentation. It might be something satisfying at home, like planting your garden or finally tackling that project you've been putting off for some day. Or it might be something that simply brings you joy, like reading a book or playing with your kids. The authors suggest your highlight should be something that takes about 60 to 90 minutes. It's the sweet spot, long enough to be meaningful, but short enough to realistically fit into your schedule. So how do you choose? They offer 3 simple ways to think about it. First, you can choose based on urgency. What's the most pressing thing you absolutely have to do today? Making that your highlight ensures you won't get to 5 p.m. with that nagging feeling of regret that you didn't do the one thing that truly mattered. Second, you can choose based on satisfaction. What's a project that isn't urgent, but that will give you a huge sense of accomplishment when you finish it? Often, these are the personal projects that get pushed aside for some day. Choosing a satisfying highlight breaks that cycle. And third, you can choose based on joy. What's something you just want to do? Something that will make you happy? It could be lunch with a friend, playing guitar, or taking your dog to the park. The authors remind us that making time isn't just about being productive, it's about making your life more joyful. The first tactic for your highlight is the simplest but most powerful: write it down. Whether it's on a sticky note on your laptop or on your calendar, the simple act of writing down your intention makes it real. It makes it more likely to happen. And once you've chosen it, you need to make room for it. That's where tactics like schedule your highlight and block your calendar come in. You literally treat your highlight like an important meeting, because it is. You are making a commitment to yourself. Choosing a highlight puts you in the driver's seat. It's your declaration that today, you won't just react. Today, you will be intentional. But as soon as you do that, the world will try to pull you off course. Which brings us to the second step of the framework: laser. Laser is about creating a state of intense focus on your highlight. It's about beating distraction. And the authors, having helped build these distractions, know that willpower is not enough. The apps and websites fighting for your attention have been designed by thousands of the smartest people in the world to be irresistible. Trying to fight them with willpower alone is like trying to hold back the ocean with your hands. So, instead of relying on willpower, you need to redesign your environment. You need to create barriers that make distraction harder to access. The most powerful tactic here is the one Jake started with: the distraction-free phone. This means deleting all the infinity pool apps from your phone, social media, news, email, even the web browser. This sounds extreme, but the authors argue that your smartphone is still an incredibly useful tool without them. The maps, the camera, the calendar, the music, these are tools, not bottomless pits of distraction. By removing the infinity pools, you turn your phone from a slot machine in your pocket back into a powerful tool that serves you. If that feels like too big a leap, you can start smaller. Log out of your social media accounts after each use. That little bit of friction, having to type in your password, is often enough to make you pause and ask, do I really want to do this right now? Nix notifications is another huge one. Turn off every notification on your phone except for the ones from actual human beings you might need to hear from, like calls and text messages. Your phone should be a quiet assistant, not a screaming carnival barker. The authors also talk about being wary of what they call time craters. A time crater is when a small, seemingly harmless distraction smashes a much bigger hole in your day. Think about posting one little tweet. It takes 90 seconds. But then you check back a few times to see the replies. You get sucked into the feed for a few minutes. You start thinking about your next witty tweet. That 90-second action just created a 30-minute crater in your focus. Another trap is what they call fake wins. This is the feeling of accomplishment you get from clearing your inbox or checking off a bunch of tiny, easy to-dos. It feels good, but it's a fake win because it distracts you from the real win, making progress on your highlight. By creating these small barriers and being aware of these traps, you make it easier to enter laser mode. You don't have to fight temptation every minute, because the temptation is no longer right in front of your face. So, you've chosen your highlight and you've created a distraction-free zone to achieve it. But there's one more crucial ingredient. You need fuel. You need energy. This brings us to the third step: energize. The authors argue this is the secret sauce of the whole system. If your body is a battery, you need to keep it charged. When you have energy, it's so much easier to stay focused, to resist distraction, and to be present for the people and projects that matter. But in our modern world, we often treat our bodies like they're just taxis for our heads. We live in our brains and forget that the brain needs a healthy body to function well. So how do you build energy? The author's advice is refreshingly simple. Act a little more like our prehistoric ancestors. They introduce us to a friendly caveman named Urk. Urk didn't have a standing desk or a gym membership, but his lifestyle was naturally energizing. And by learning from him, we can recharge our own batteries. The Energize section is built on a few core principles inspired by our hunter-gatherer past. The first is to keep it moving. Our bodies were designed to move, not to sit in a chair for 8 hours a day. But you don't need to become a marathon runner. The key is to aim for about 20 minutes of movement every day. It could be a brisk walk, a short run, or a quick workout at home. The tactic "pound the pavement" reminds us that walking is practically a wonder drug. It's the simplest, most accessible form of exercise, and it gives you a huge energy boost. Or, you can inconvenience yourself. Take the stairs, carry your groceries instead of using a cart, park at the far end of the parking lot. Find small ways to build movement back into your day. The next principle is to eat real food. Our bodies evolved to run on plants, nuts, fish, and meat, not on things that come out of a plastic wrapper. One of my favorite tactics here is the dark chocolate plan. If you have a sweet tooth, don't try to fight it. Just switch your default dessert to a small piece of dark chocolate. It has far less sugar, so you avoid the crash, and it's surprisingly satisfying. Next up, optimize caffeine. Most of us drink coffee or tea on autopilot. But caffeine is a powerful tool, and you should use it strategically. One great tip is to wake up before you caffeinate. Your body naturally produces a wake-up hormone called cortisol in the morning. If you drink coffee right away, you're not getting the full effect. Wait until about 9:30 or 10 a.m. The boost will be much more effective. Another fantastic one is the caffeine nap. If you feel that afternoon slump coming on, drink a cup of coffee and then immediately take a 15-minute nap. The caffeine takes about that long to kick in. You'll wake up just as it hits your system, feeling incredibly refreshed. Another crucial principle is to go off the grid. Our hunter-gatherer ancestors lived in a world of quiet. Our world is filled with constant noise. You need to find moments of silence to let your brain recharge. This can be as simple as leaving your headphones at home for one walk, or taking real breaks away from a screen. Instead of scrolling through your phone, just stare out the window for 5 minutes. It's a reset for your brain. Finally, the authors talk about the importance of human connection with Make It Personal, and getting proper rest with sleep in a cave. A key tactic for sleep is to make your bedroom a bedroom. Get all the screens out, the TV, the laptop, and especially your phone. Your bedroom should be a sanctuary for sleep, not another place for stimulation. By making these small, like shifts in your day, you charge your battery. And with a full battery, everything else, focus, motivation, presence, becomes easier. This brings us to the fourth and final step, which ties the whole system together: reflect. At the end of each day, you take just a few minutes to pause and take a few simple notes. This is your personal scientific method. You observe what happened, guess why, and experiment for tomorrow. You ask yourself a few simple questions. What was my highlight today? Did I make time for it? How was my energy? What tactics did I try? What did I learn? This isn't about judging yourself or aiming for perfection. It's the opposite. It's about being curious. You're just collecting data. Maybe you notice that on days you go for a walk at lunch, your afternoon energy is much higher. Or maybe you realize that checking email first thing in the morning consistently derails your highlight. By taking these quick notes, you start to build a system that is perfectly tailored to you, your body, your schedule, and your priorities. It's not a rigid, one-size-fits-all program. It's a flexible framework that you build yourself, one day at a time. And that is the beauty of Make Time. It's not about a massive, life-altering overhaul. It's about small, intentional shifts. Choose one thing to focus on. Create a little space to protect that focus. Fuel your body with a bit more energy. And learn as you go. The authors themselves are the best proof of where this can lead. By making time day after day for their personal highlights, they found their lives slowly but surely pivoting. Jake, who started making time to write his adventure novel in the evenings, eventually left his job at Google to become a full-time writer. Jay-Z and his wife, who made time on weekends to fix up an old sailboat, eventually quit their jobs and started sailing down the Pacific coast. They're not telling you to quit your job. They're telling you that when you consistently make time for what makes you come alive, your life starts to align around those things in ways you can't predict. You don't have to wait for someday. You can start today. Commentary. What I love about Make Time is that it feels so profoundly human. In a world obsessed with productivity hacks, optimization, and doing more, faster, this book comes along and gently says, that's not the point. The point isn't to get more done. The point is to make time for what matters. It shifts the goal from efficiency to intentionally. Jake Knapp and John Zeratsky aren't productivity gurus standing on a mountaintop, sharing secrets of their superhuman discipline. They call themselves time dorks. They admit they get distracted. They admit they lack willpower. And that's what makes their advice so powerful and so relatable. Their system isn't built for robots. It's built for real, fallible human beings who get tempted by Instagram and feel the pull of an overflowing inbox. The framework of highlight, laser, energize, and reflect is so simple, yet it addresses the core challenges of modern life. The idea of the highlight is a brilliant antidote to the tyranny of the to-do list. Instead of feeling the pressure to do everything, you give yourself permission to focus on one thing that will bring you satisfaction or joy. It redefines what a successful day looks like. It's not about inbox zero, it's about making time for your highlight. The leisure section is a sobering but necessary look at the reality of our relationship with technology. Coming from two people who built these technologies, their advice to create barriers and change our defaults feels incredibly authentic. They're not anti-technology, they're pro-intention. They're helping us find a way to get the superpowers of modern tech without falling into the addictive traps. And the Energize section, with its charming caveman mascot, Orc, is perhaps the most important part of all. It's a powerful reminder that we are not just brains. We are physical beings, and our mental energy is directly tied to how we treat our bodies. The advice isn't extreme. It's not about a fad diet or a grueling workout plan. It's about small, consistent actions. Take a walk, eat some real food, get a bit more sleep. It's about aligning our modern lives just a little bit more with the way our bodies were designed to work. If you're ready to try this, I want to leave you with a simple way to start, based on the book's own quick start guide. Don't try to do everything at once. Just try this for the next 3 days. 1. Choose your highlight. Before you go to bed tonight, decide on one thing for tomorrow that you want to make time for. Write it down and put it on your calendar. 2. Fight one distraction. Identify your single biggest distraction, your kryptonite, as the authors call it. Is it Twitter? Is it the news? Just for the time you've scheduled your highlight, create one barrier to it. Log out, turn off your Wi-Fi, or put your phone in another room. 3. Move your body. Find 20 minutes to go for a walk. That's it. Pound the pavement. Do just those 3 things. And then, in the evening, take 2 minutes to reflect on how it went. See what you learn. That's the beginning. It's not about a sudden dramatic change. It's about a gentle daily practice of making your life your own, one highlight at a time. That was a deep dive into Make Time by Jake Knapp and John Zeratsky. We've journeyed through the core ideas today, but I'll be honest with you, a summary can only take you so far. The real magic happens when you hold the book in your hands. It's in the quiet moments, when one of their personal stories or a simple, clever tactic hits you in a way you didn't expect. This summary is your guide to help you decide if this book is worth your time and attention. If anything we've talked about today has resonated with you, if you've felt that pull of the busy bandwagon or gotten lost in an infinity pool, then I truly encourage you to grab a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning, it's an experience that can genuinely change the way you see your days and your life. The link to the book is in the description below. Also, if you found this journey valuable, and you want to continue exploring the ideas in the world's most impactful books, Please take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. That way, you won't miss our next adventure into another life-changing book from the billionaire's bookshelf. Let's keep growing and learning together.